Good morning, good morning, good morning. I want to welcome everybody who's joining us on YouTube, Facebook, and Zoom. I want to welcome the folks here in the room. My name is Reverend Rafe Ellis. We're going to get started right away with our first two community songs. I invite you to join in. The lyrics, for those of you live streaming, are there on the screen. I apologize to the folks in the room. We did not get a lyric sheet, but they're familiar, so just jump in. I will share this with you from when I was in my choral days in high school and college. The conductor, Vito Mason, said, if you're never sure of what the lyrics are, just mouth watermelon, 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 and no one will know the difference. All right, here we go.
This is called I'm Choosing Watermelon Today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing love. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing peace. I'm choosing peace today. I'm choosing peace today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing peace today. I choose compassion. I choose compassion today. I choose compassion today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I choose compassion today. I choose abundance. I choose abundance today. I choose abundance today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I choose abundance today. I'm choosing heaven. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. All right. We're going to do a new song now. Eddie Watkins Jr. wrote this. Am I strong enough to bear the burdens that sometimes come living this thing called life? Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone and there's nothing I have to do on my own, 'cause I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have the health of mind and body to live a life of grace and wholeness? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only me to realize that I'm not alone, that there's nothing I have to do on my own, 'cause I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. You are too. You are the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. You are the place where God shows up. Yes, you are. You are the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. You are the place where God shows up. Yes, we are. We are the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. We are the place where God shows up. We are the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. We are the place where God shows up.
Indeed, we are the place where God shows up. My name is Reverend Rafe Ellis, and I am honored and privileged to be the senior minister here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. I want to welcome again folks that have joined us on Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom, and here in the room. And it is my honor and privilege to remind us of who we are and share with folks that might be joining us for the first time who Sierra Center for Spiritual Living is. We are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, supportive community that celebrates the very diversity of creation. We strive to live authentic spiritual lives through a practical application of the teachings of science of mind. We engage in sacred practices that uplift our spirit, deepen our awareness, and ignite our soul's self-expression. We demonstrate active compassion to ourselves, each other, and the world. We experience meaningful contribution through giving generously of our time, talents, and treasures, and we intentionally, on purpose, shamelessly, actively, consciously, intentionally promote this community and these teachings. And so if you are live streaming, one of the ways that you can immediately participate in that is to share this live stream feed on whatever social media platforms that you engage with. And one of the things that we do every Sunday morning is our candle lighting ritual to actually demonstrate our inclusivity. I'm going to ask our board president, Marilyn Gale, to join me in lighting these. Let me get her fired up here. And we light these candles to celebrate the unity of all people, all faiths, all beings, all life. We light the first candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples. We light the second candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the third candle for Taoism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the middle way, the path of compassion. That was the fifth candle. Go ahead and light that. We're just one behind each other, that's all. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the teachings of Jesus as the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought teachings, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles of love and law. We light the 10th candle for absolute inclusivity, affirming that all are welcome and celebrated here. And we light this final candle, honoring the infinity of oneness as all creation, seen and unseen. Thank you, Marilyn. And now I'm going to turn it back over to our musicians for our next community song, We Are All One Spirit. Indeed, we are all one spirit. And eventually, we're going to recognize that we're already home, wherever we are. And in the meantime, we're in the process of coming home, consciously, in awareness. So this is our time of announcements. I want to address a couple of things before we get to the slides. This live streaming thing has a lot of moving parts. And sometimes those moving parts move in an unanticipated way, and it creates some collisions. And when that happens, we're very much aware of it, and some of it we can correct immediately, and some of it we cannot. I was just noticing when the musicians were playing that the camera is slightly off, and we don't see one shoulder of Julie while she's playing the drums. That cannot be adjusted right now. It just and what you don't realize is that every time that lyric slide changes, that is a different camera slide. And so adjusting it means adjusting it in every one of those slides. And so I just want you to know that everybody that is engaged in this live streaming process is busting their hiney to learn how to do this stuff. They're doing the very best they can, and to please celebrate their efforts more than you identify the shortcomings. It will go a long way. If you are here in the building, please refrain from approaching the live stream table, and here's why. There are 50 slides that whoever is doing the live stream has to move through in the course of the service today. That happens very quickly. If you go over and engage them in a conversation, by the time you've said hello, they've missed 2 slides. Okay? So it actually contributes to the challenges rather than mitigates anything. If you are on the live stream and you have no sound, by all means, shoot me a text message or post it in the Zoom chat or post it in the Facebook chat. We are monitoring those things. That information we can probably correct immediately. Don't bother to call the center because nobody's available to answer the phone. We're all busy doing stuff in the service. And so the phone will ring and we'll know you're calling, but we won't get to your message until after the service, so it won't help us mitigate anything. So hopefully that's clear. Let's get on with our regular announcements. We are here. We are open. And we are doing everything we can think of to make this physical environment safe for everybody. One of the things that we're doing is we have our bead system. So if you're really uncomfortable, first of all, everybody, unless you are actively singing or speaking, wears a mask all the time. I put mine back on when I go sit down. Okay? You may or may not agree with that practice. That's okay. You get to have your belief system, and if you're going to come in here, you're going to agree to what the board has decided that is going to happen in here. And if you cannot agree with that, don't come. Join us on live stream. It's okay. But if you come, you will be expected to honor the protocols that are in place. So one of those is our bead system. If you want people to stay 6 feet away from you and not make physical contact with you, you put on a red beaded necklace. That communicates to them what your comfort zone is, and everybody knows that. It eliminates everybody having to have the same conversation a gazillion times. If you're figuring it out one person at a time, you get to put on a yellow one. And it's just that simple. You just pop it on, everybody sees it, and that communicates, check in with me before you reach out and touch me. Check in with me before you get too close. If your comfort zone is hug me, shake hands with me, I'm good, be as close as you want to get, you put on a green one, and that communicates that. And if you wear all 3, that communicates you're really confused. And that's okay too. All right. We also have seat savers. They're at the entryway there. If you want to set one on either side of you so that nobody sits right up next to you, you're welcome to use those. I want you to know after service, this whole place is sanitized. We spray it down from stem to stern. Microphones, all of it gets disinfected. These are disinfected. We put them on a hanger, we spray the bejabbers out of them, we hang them outside in the sun until they dry, and so far, everything we're doing is working. We do ask if you have any symptoms of anything that can even possibly remotely in some planetary realm ever anywhere be contagious, stay home. Perhaps we're entering into a new paradigm where we actually honor listening to our body instead of pushing through. If you don't feel well, it's not heroic to man up and come to church anyway. No, stay home. Listen to your body. Care for it. Give it what it needs. Because there are some things we simply do not need to share with one another. All right. If you have been here, like if you're here today, and then within the next week, for some reason you develop symptoms and test positive for COVID, please reach out immediately so that we can do our due diligence in contact tracing and let other folks know. We are dealing with whatever this thing is. It has an agenda to, shall we say, communicate with as many bodies as it can. It's a pretty aggressive community organizer on some level. And so we need to know that so we can let other folks know. I appreciate you. I appreciate whatever your comfort zone is. Our whole paradigm of community is changing. And so if you're comfortable being here, we certainly want you to be here. And if you're more comfortable joining us from home, that's what we want you to do. I want you to honor that inner voice and that inner guidance, because I'm convinced that divine intelligence knows exactly what you, the individualized you, needs to do. Trust that. Follow that. Okay. Board members, we have one applicant. That will be coming out. Everything is a little bit delayed. According to our bylaws, I should give you that list today, but the bylaws didn't account for the snowstorm. So I will have the slate of candidates for election next week. I may even have that out in the newsletter later today, so we will have that. The window has closed to submit an application. That said, if you really are pulled to apply, contact me, and I am willing to entertain that and have a conversation with the board, because life unfolding unpredictably is just that. So we'll see. Our weekly discussion group, Going Deeper. We're here, and given the rise in everything that's happening in COVID right now, I'm going to secure a couple more long USB cables so that you can participate in that here in the room or on Zoom. It will not be live streamed because of the private nature of the discussion, so it won't be available on Facebook, it won't be available on YouTube, but we will do a hybrid, folks in the room and folks on Zoom. So stay tuned for the link for that as we move forward. That'll be in the newsletter today. And I think that's it for my announcements. Nope. Thank you, Dale. This is the book, the journal. It is beautifully laid out. Beautifully laid out. This is just some of what you'll see in there. It follows the themes for the year. It has really cool things like you can put in the talk title, the date, who spoke. You can bring it to Sunday service, make notes in it, your reflections of the affirmation or the service, what you're grateful for, your personal goals. It's just a handy tool. You don't have to get it, but if you want to, it may help bring up things that you want to bring to the discussion. Today in the talk, there will be questions and consideration points to think about that we will use in the discussion on Wednesday. So I invite you to participate in that. The reason we do this is because we all grow more in community. The connection matters, and so we're going to figure out how to get connected and how to do that no matter what's happening here on planet Earth. You know, it can look a lot of different ways. So join me on Wednesday evenings, 6 o'clock, and we'll see what happens. Okay. So this is our time of inward shift. And what we do is we look at one of our community values every Sunday. This Sunday, we're looking at inclusion. And it's a lot of what I've been mentioning this morning, that, inclusion is identifying the barriers to people participating and figuring out a way to eliminate them or build bridges or build ladders that people can actually climb. It's also about making space for everybody's voice. What inclusion doesn't mean is everybody gets their way. And sometimes we're a little confused about that. If you have something that you want to contribute, if you have something that will serve you and we're not already doing it, include yourself by reaching out, communicating that with me so that I can consider it in the mix. One of the things that can often happen, especially for those of us that have been systematically wounded by exclusion, is that we stop trying. And so we get content to sit in our resentment, and we get tired of reaching out. And what I can tell you is that I will listen, I will consider, I will move heaven and earth to make it happen within my authority and ability and capacity to do that. And sometimes it will be no, and sometimes it will be not now. But if you don't ask, it's always a no. It's always a no if you don't ask. And so I encourage you to begin this process of inclusion with yourself. Because if you won't include your own heart's desires, it is highly unlikely that you will include anybody else's. So start there. So I invite you to take that into this time of meditation. The musicians are going to sing us into that meditation with the bridge, surely the presence. And just take into consideration, what is alive in me? What wants to be recognized in me?
Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel its mighty power and its grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel its mighty power and its grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place.
So I invite you to allow your next breath to take you more deeply into that center of your being, to communicate directly with the essence, to recognize, to recognize, to know again in a brand new way that there is one life, one love, one light, one peace, one power, one presence, one substance, creating out of itself, by itself, to be itself, to expand its very experience of itself in, through, and as its creation. One, always one. That the manifest form, the physical, is the divine, is this love, light, peace, power, presence, made manifest in form as the activity of creation acts upon the desire of the heart in the infinite to know itself as a particular form. It makes it so. All already included within the one. And so knowing this to be true, I know that all life, all form, all function, all experience is a manifestation of this one, never separate from it. And so that I know that this one life is my life. This one love is the love that I am. That peace, power, presence, abundance, divine intelligence, all of it is my birthright. It is the DNA of my creative being. And in this actuality, in this reality of oneness, what is true of me is true of all. And so I speak my word this morning, lifting up this idea, making it real, to be realized in the heart and mind and experience of every divine expression of divinity in form. The reality of inclusion, the reality of wholeness, the reality of oneness already is. And so we shift our attention to experience the one reality that has always been. Absolute inclusion of every diverse expression, every magnificent, one of a kind, one. Speak a word of gratitude for every magnificent, diverse expression of creation, the richness. Speak a word of gratitude for every heart and hand from the beginning of the history of Sierra Center for Spiritual Living to this moment, knowing that each and every contribution has brought us to this moment, to this celebration. Grateful, 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 grateful for technology. Grateful for the yes within each being. Grateful. So I know that everything is already perfectly done, divinely ordered. And I simply open to an experience of that. I lean into that divine yes that is constantly informing everything I do. I invite you to join me to release all control in the outcome as we say together, and so it is. So our affirmation for the day, I'll read it through once and then invite you to read it with me. I see awe-inspiring beauty everywhere I look. Let's say that together. I see awe-inspiring beauty everywhere I look. And so it is.
We weren't able to do this last Sunday, so we're going to do a New Year carol. Here we bring new water from the well so clear, for to worship God with this happy new year. Sing levy-do, sing levy-do, the water and the wine, the seven bright gold wires and the bugles that do shine.
Sing reign of fair maid with gold upon her toe. Open you the west door and turn the old year go.
Sing levy-do, sing levy-do, the water and the wine, the seven bright gold wires and the bugles that do shine. Sing reign of fair maid with gold upon her chin. Open you the east door and let the new year in. Sing levy-do, sing levy-do, the water and the wine, the seven bright gold wires and the bugles that do shine. Here we bring new water from the well so clear, for to worship God with this happy new year. Sing levy-do, sing levy-do, the water and the wine, the seven bright gold wires and the bugles that do shine.
Take a breath with me. I get asked frequently, why do I do that at the beginning of every talk? I do that because the breath is the thing that connects us all. And so taking a breath together brings us together. So historically, in our faith tradition, January is a month where we have historically looked at the first 4 chapters of the Science of Mind book. The thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. So we're not going to do it the way we've typically done it this month, but we're still doing it, interestingly enough. The themes, the annual talk bank for 2022 that we are tapping into is titled Living Everyday Wonder. So this whole year, we're going to be focused on living these teachings, moving them from here to here to here, to actually getting out of our heads and allowing our heart to inform how we live on this planet with one another and everything that's here. Okay? And so interestingly enough, this morning's talk, Wonder, Wonder Everywhere, is quite literally focused on the thing itself. Right? Next week, Embrace the Now is just a different title for the way it works. The next week, Question Everything, which is what it does. And then the very last Sunday this month, the talk title is Prove It, which is exactly what happens when we learn how to use it. So we're still going to cover those topics. We're just going to do it from a practical application standpoint in how to actually live everyday wonder in our lives. Now, that's going to set up the framework for the rest of the year. And so the monthly topics for the other 11 months, the inner life, play, creativity, emotions, body, relationships, nature, work, finances, home, and community. And so we will take each month and we will use this process of looking at the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it in each of those areas throughout the year. Because if we don't figure out how to move this out of our heads and into our lives, what good is it? Right? It's like it's like all those self-help books that we have at home sitting on our shelves collecting dusts that we've never opened, that we could legitimately post on Amazon as used in mint condition. Right? They haven't done us any good. And so our opportunity is to take this stuff and move it. And I offer you this for a capsule to think about this annual theme of living everyday wonder. I do on the minister's listserv, we have a day of the month that we each contribute a treatment for the ministers. And what came out in my treatment on the 8th was this: every ordinary moment is truly extraordinary. Every extraordinary moment is quite ordinary. There is no difference between the extraordinary and the ordinary except that we insist it be so. And so this year offers us an opportunity to move beyond the limitations of our language, to move beyond this idea that something can be extraordinary without being ordinary and something can be ordinary without being extraordinary, that they're one and the same. Right? Because they are. Spirit knows no degree of magnificence. It's just magnificent. Every moment of it. So let's look at our declaration of principle. The very first statement in our declaration of principle speaks to the thing itself. I believe in God, the living Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. So what is all that really saying? In simplified terms, there's one substance, there's one source that creates out of itself, by itself, to be itself, to expand its experience of itself. That it is inexhaustible, that this activity of creating out of itself in no way uses it up. Right? It's not like the bag of flour that we buy at the grocery store that you can only make so many cakes out of, right? And then it's gone. Infinite has no end capacity. It just is infinite. And so because it's not using itself up, it's just creating newness constantly out of itself to expand its experience of itself. Just like you and I moseying along, minding our own business, and all of a sudden you have an idea, right? That just comes out of the blue. Well, where is the blue? Where is that? It is the mind of the infinite within you. It is life within you seeking an expression as you. And I want to recognize that a lot of us on planet Earth have been really beat up and really harmed and really oppressed by that word God. A lot of folks. A lot of folks have been killed in the name of God. That's just true. And so I invite you, if that word is challenging for you, that you take it back or substitute another word until you can. Because it's just language. As Rumi said, silence is the language of God. All else is poor translation. Right? Because it is. The minute we open our mouths to speak, we are limiting the divine. Because there are no finite words that can accurately express the infinite. And so if the word God doesn't work for you, substitute what does. For some people it's life. For some people it's love. For some people it's nature. Whatever it is, just know that if you were taught an ugly version of God, that you were taught a lie. And it's okay to call a lie a lie. It's okay to throw out the bathwater and keep the baby. That's okay. And if you're not there, that's okay. That's your spiritual journey. And quite frankly, unless you make it my business, it's none of my business. That's your path. But I invite you to at least begin to lean into there's one something. That's why Ernest Holmes called it the thing itself. There's something, whatever you call it. It is all there is. It is the source. It is the substance. It is the activity creating out of itself, by itself, to be itself, to expand its experience of itself. And all of that is your spiritual DNA. And so that urge in you is the urge of the divine as you. And so we are all part of the creative process all the time. There's no off switch. Ignoring it won't change it. It just changes your experience of it. But it is quite literally impossible for any of us to not participate in the creative process. I want to offer you this quote this morning. To be meek is to be humble before the truth. A person is truly meek or humble when they look upon the grandeur of a mountain or the vastness of the ocean or think about the bigness of things. They do not become lost in this bigness or this grandeur, but they do stand in awe before it. When they do this, something deep within them responds. Something within them embraces the ocean. Something within them melts into the mountains. And they become one with these. This is true meekness. As Ernest Holmes read in gender-neutral language from the Ideas of Living, page 18. Will we allow ourselves to be in awe of life, no matter how it shows up? This past 2 weeks, for those of us here locally in Nevada County, been a little challenging. And I invite you to lean into the both and. That yes, it is challenging here on planet Earth to be without our electricity, to be without the creature comforts that we've become accustomed to. And that doesn't have to take us out of a sense of awe and wonder. See, I can stand in my physical dwelling with none of the creatures of comfort that I had before the snow dropped the tree on the power line. And I can still look out into my yard and marvel at how, as the sun is coming up, my entire yard looks like it is filled with diamonds. Wow. I don't have to sacrifice one for the other. I can marvel at how I'm watching people come together to help one another. See, it's interesting that in a crisis, I'm watching on Facebook where there is oftentimes such ugly vitriol, literally attacking one another for their belief systems. And all of a sudden, there is this, I can help with this, and I can help with this, and I can help with this, and what do you need? Let me know. I'll help network because I can't leave my home, but I can help network. And nobody in any of those posts is qualifying, I will help you if you're a Republican. I will help you if you're a Democrat. I will help you if you have white skin. I will help you if you're cisgendered. I will help you if you're heterosexual. None of that was there. Isn't that amazing? And perhaps people, if we will learn to love each other like that all the time, we can stop creating the frickin' crisis that bring us together. Perhaps we are participating in our own demise by requiring crisis to live inclusively. I'm just saying it might possibly, in some realm of existence, be a correlation there. Just saying, something to consider. And so, this month, living everyday wonder. Wonder has two meanings: awe or to ponder. And so I invite you to use both, to ponder. What are you in awe of? Are you in awe of how life unfolds? Or are you stuck where some of us sometimes visit and being in awe of how stupid people can behave? Right? We have to get honest. What are we in awe of? Right? The minute you get honest about what you're thinking, you empower yourself to shift it. It's just that simple. So I know I'm running over, and I don't care. I'm going to do a little ritual with us that I did yesterday with the vision board folks. And so I invite you to go within with me for just a moment. To go within. And to, as quickly as you can, go to that place where it is absolutely 100% safe for you to tell you the truth. And to allow to come to mind the beliefs, the thoughts, the practices, the behaviors that are no longer serving your spiritual unfoldment, that are out of alignment with the truth of your being. To bring those to mind and to consider releasing them. To consider letting them go. Knowing that setting the intention shifts your attention. And I invite you, if you're here in the room, to simply infuse your thoughts into this paper that I'm holding up. Infuse your releases, all of those beliefs, all of those ideas. Everything you want to let go of is right here in this paper. I invite you, if you are on Zoom, to infuse your thoughts, to direct them to this paper, to know that this paper is capturing all of the things you want to release. For those on Zoom or Facebook, rather, direct your intention, direct your thoughts, direct what you want to release to this paper. In the oneness and the inclusion, it's all right here. And finally, our folks on YouTube, same thing. Direct it all right here. If you're watching this live stream later, Spirit is not bound by time and space. So you participating happens in the now, whenever the now is. All right here. And so I invite you to open your eyes. To know with me the amazing, transformative power of light, of fire, that even as it transforms form, it does this magnificent thing. It is awe and wonder, even sometimes in destruction. And so we allow this to transform all of those things we released, to let them go. And I assure you, they're gone. Not even so much as an ash. And so you can relax. You can breathe into this moment of newness, brand new, blank slate, and allow your heart's desire to inform you. So a couple of practices I want to give you for this week. When you're out and about and you encounter somebody from a distance, on Facebook, wherever it is, I invite you to say within your own mind, within your heart, you are a part of me I don't yet know. No matter who it is, you are a part of me I don't yet know. When you're out in the community, if you're in a meeting, now this one can be a little more challenging, but I'm going to throw it out here anyway. If you're in a business meeting, suggest, how about we each speak something we're grateful for before we start the meeting? Doesn't have to be all big and spiritual. Gratitude is helpful for anybody, even if they're grateful they got to work that day. Okay? Put these things into practice. See what happens. Questions for our discussion group. What inspires you? Just sit with it. Ask the question and then listen. Because it might surprise you that something inspires you that you're not yet even aware of. What takes your breath away? What do you stand in awe of? Spend some time there. How might working with the statement, "You are a part of me I don't yet know," change your perspective of other people, of yourself, of your worldview? Number 4, do you think wonder and gratitude are related? If yes, how? Number 5, failure to wonder can lead to separation, distrust, abuse, and violence. How might we get back to wondering in our society? And what do you see as the benefits of wondering? Both being in awe and pondering. I will put those in the newsletter that will go out later today, so you'll have access to those. They'll also be, the newsletter link will be on our website. It'll also be on our Facebook page. So I invite you to know that you get to start new every moment. You don't have to wait for the beginning of the year. Every breath is a new moment. Be in it. Let's take this into prayer. And so recognizing that the divine is still the divine, that there is still only one, that we are it, that it is manifest in the physical form as us, I know that all is well, and I stand in awe of creation, which moves me to gratitude. A gratitude that is one of completion, of one of knowing it is already done. And so I let go. I let it be. And so it is. Let's take another breath together. This is our time where we shift into our intentional giving, and this center is supported by your giving. It's just that simple. So if you have been spiritually fed, we ask that you give in alignment with what has been given freely to you. So let's say our giving affirmation together, shall we? As soon as I find it here on my paper. I give this gift with love and joy from a consciousness of abundance. Divine love blesses and prospers all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Juanita's got the basket here in the room. If you are joining us online, the link to donate is right there at the bottom of the screen.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source, love is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks. Blessings, love gives me everything I need. blessing. Peace gives me everything. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
So I speak a word of blessing, a word of gratitude for the infinite in the form of money, knowing that we give through Sierra Center for Spiritual Living to do good work in the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Okay. Couple of reminders. Wednesday night, 6 o'clock. Look for the link in the newsletter. And I want to share our final tally with the giving tree. So first of all, I'm going to read some names. I'm not going to tell you how much each person gave because that's none of our business. But I do want to appreciate the people who gave. Barbara Witt, Maggie Lookfield, Gary and Reverend Madeline Wade, Pat Cooper, Reverend Lanny Howard, Pat Barentine, Terry Sharonot. And I apologize if I just butchered your name, Terry. Jerry Lynn Fling, John and Judy Brown, Linda Martinez, Dell Phoenix Wilcox, Julie Chiarelli, Julia Robles Scott, Susan Scardino, Reverend Andriette Earl, Ray Jordan, hey cuz, Lynn Gunn Smith, Reverend Jane Beach, Kathy Urbanus, Claire Summerhill, Joan Colburn, Marcia Bencala, Mary Lou Knapp, and Reverend Sharon Mitchell. And I will tell you that these people span from Canada to Western North Carolina to the Bay Area to right here. So we are touching lives, and lives beyond our physical borders are touching us. So thank you. We received a total of $3,140 in donations, which, now that doesn't make sense to me, because the math, oh, I know what happened. Some of this is the matching, so the math is incorrect, but that's okay. Total with the matching, where we landed, was $5,678. Well done. Well done. I also want to take a moment to thank Reverend Dr. Kathy Ann Lewis and the community of Centers for Spiritual Living, Seattle, Washington. Reverend Dr. Kathy Ann put out a thing on the minister's listserv that her community still had money to tithe and ask for folks that could use it to start a new program. And I reached out and submitted that we could certainly use it to begin to look at how to grow, how to do community outreach. It wasn't in the budget, and we received a check this week from Reverend Dr. Kathy Ann Lewis in the Seattle community for $2,000 that is earmarked for community outreach and advertisement. Thank you.
Yes.
This is how God shows up. And what I can tell you of Reverend Dr. Kathy Ann, she is constantly saying, you cannot outgive God. And her life and her center is proof of that. And so I encourage each of us to honor what is given to us by continuing to give, because it's the circulation that matters. So, thank you, Julie Chiarelli. Thank you, Jeff Wright. Thank you, Marilyn Gale, for our music this morning. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Dell, for being our live stream guru today. Thank you, Juanita, for everything. You guys have no idea how much of her time she spends just keeping me sane, which is no simple task. I am oftentimes like herding cats just all by myself. So thank you for keeping track of me and keeping me on track. Let's stand and do our benediction. And thank each of you for coming, because this is so much more fun with you than without you. Something wonderful is happening as me right now. It is this thing called awe. It is this thing called wonder. It is this thing called everyday life. I know it. I feel it. I sense it. Because I am it. And so it is. All yours, guys.
I give myself permission to be all I can be. I give myself permission to live passionate and free. I give myself permission to be all I can be. I give myself permission to live passionate and free. I can't hear you.